All right, we are back. Let's keep this phone train going. Lots of callers tonight, and still some lines open for you. 737-7767. Because of some modifications we did to our phone system during the Vanderbilt rape trial of the past week, if you're out there holding or if you call in, listen on your TV, that's fine. When I go to the call, you should hear it on the air. You'll hear your phone switch over to being on air. I'll call your name out, and then if you can, turn the volume down on your TV. Otherwise, there'll be a delay in there. So hopefully that will help some things out. We begin this segment with James. James, thanks for waiting for us. You're next up here on SportsLine. How are you?
Fine.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, with me, LeBron is definitely in the top 5 because he's such an all-around great player, and I was glad to see that he took over in this series in the last 3 games, because that's how Michael Jordan used to do it back in his days, to win championships. I think LeBron is a class act. But you can't forget about Shaquille O'Neal. I think he's right there with him. I would want Shaquille on my team over a lot of players. So, but I thought it was a great series, and that's all I have to say.
All right, James. We appreciate that. It was a great series, and it saved its best for last. The interesting thing to me is they both had 610 points going into last night's game. Exact same amount of points through 6 games. And yet, in those 6 games, none of them were decided by fewer than 10 points. So we really didn't have a classic great game in the finals. We had some incredible performances, but truly the one great game was last night in Game 7, and that's obviously when you'd want to have it, when all the marbles are on the line and the title is out there. It was fun to watch last night. It was good. I heard some people calling it the game of the year. They have clearly forgotten the Villanova national championship game against North Carolina. I mean, that was absolutely beyond incredible. I don't think last night lived up to that, but it was a heck of a game. It was what we were looking for in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Back to the phones we go now. Let's go to Sam. Sam, good evening. You're next up here on SportsLine.
Hey, how you doing now?
Doing well.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a joke. The NBA Finals ain't like it used to be. It looked like it set up more than anything.
In what way?
And the referee, they called a terrible game. It was terrible. It looked right. I think they lost a lot of fans, too.
Okay. Do you think the referees called it in a way that the Cavaliers won, or do you just think they were bad all around?
All around, plus they were with Cavaliers. Everybody wanted LeBron to win the championship. That's how it was. Everybody already knew what was going to happen for it to happen, even though the better team was Golden State.
Interesting. Oh, we appreciate the call, Sam. I'll be honest, I didn't like the officiating in the series. I didn't think it was very good. I think Golden State certainly had some complaints in the way things went down in Game 6. But I don't think it was some NBA conspiracy or something like that, or as Aisha Curry tweeted after Game 6, that things were rigged. I didn't think it was that. I just think the refs weren't very good. And here's the thing. We see this sometimes in football, but I think especially in basketball. When we talk about all the advancements and how much bigger and faster and stronger these guys are at the NBA level today, how do the refs keep up? I mean, how do the refs keep up in this series? That's tough. The Warriors are running up and down the court. They are jacking shots from all over the court, quick shots in cases. You've got LeBron, who is the most physically freakish athlete on the planet in terms of everything that he can do and at the size he does it with. And you're asking some of these guys who are 65 years old to run up and down the floor and compete with that, with the whistle. And I just think that has become the sport now where the officiating has become the most questionable at the professional level. For the most part in the NFL, I think you get a pretty good whistle. Yeah, sure. All of these things are human error. So you're going to get a bad third strike call in Major League Baseball. A guy's going to miss a play at second base every once in a while. In the NFL, somebody's going to miss holding or whatever. That's going to happen. But I think consistently we've seen bad calls in the NBA. And sometimes just games or even series where it's just not a very good whistle. And I think this was not a well-officiated series, but I also don't think it's why the Cavaliers won the series either. Let's go to Bryant. Bryant, good evening. You're next up here on SportsLine.
All righty. Thank you, man.
You bet. Go ahead, Bryant.
All right, Steve, I appreciate you, man, very much, and I've been watching your show. But the last caller that just said what he said, that was no setup. That was no setup. What about Michael Jordan winning his 6 championships? That was not no setup.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I don't think the people who talk about rigged things in the NBA, I just don't think that's a reality. I think it would be too hard to conceal that and operate under that fashion. So I don't think they're out there trying to orchestrate championships places. Sure, sometimes there's a bad call that goes against your team or that team or whatever, but I don't think they're orchestrating these things to say, last year we wanted Golden State to win, this year, same 2 teams, we want the Cavaliers to win. I just don't think that's how it is. I think that's how it played out because of the players on the court.
Thing too, the person that called you last caller, he didn't understand. The Cavaliers were hurt. Irving and Love was hurt. And LeBron had to do it himself, and they lost. Now, if they was all healthy, like we just saw Sunday night, they'd have been 2-time champions right now.
There's a compelling argument there because they were not whole last year in the finals.
You listen real good, then. That was real basketball.
Yeah, no, it was very good. The one thing I'll say back to that is even with all those guys in place, they won by 4 in Game 7 last night, so I think it would have been a darn good series last year, and it's not a foregone conclusion that the Cavaliers would have won then, but certainly having all the guys and all the pieces this year helped them out.
Yeah, like I said, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but I've always been a Cleveland Cavalier fan with Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, and all them, and Michael Jordan would destroy them all the time, and Cleveland always stayed in the playoffs.
Right.
Always always went down, though.
Yep.
Now, I'm proud of them.
Absolutely, Brian. I think you reflect a lot of people out there that really appreciate what Cleveland did here. Even Pittsburgh. You think about the great rivalry between the Steelers and the Browns and how much those cities hate each other when it comes to football. But there's some similarities there between people who grew up in Pittsburgh, people who grew up in Ohio, the types of blue-collar families and work ethic that belongs to that part of the country. And I think just all of us, wherever you're from, respects the fact that that is the makeup of Cleveland, Ohio. It's a lot of blue-collar people who love their teams and love their city, and for the longest time, more than a half a century, they've had nothing but heartache cheering and cheering and cheering for their teams. And last night was their night. Last night, their team did them proud and brought home the title, and that is a fun story to cheer for. All right, we got to take our break. We will come back. Still more phone calls if you want. 737-7767 is the number. This is SportsLine on News Channel 5+.